Okay, hello. So here we are again, and we'll be like switching a topic for a bit from the code quality to process or communication. So we'll talk about how to communicate. So in case you forgot, these are our core values. I'm sure that you read it like 1,000 times by now. So who does developer need to communicate with during his work, of course? So other developers, managers, customer, and the world. So we'll talk about communicating with other developers right now, and we'll cover other cases in some other talks, because I wanted to do originally everything for this talk, but it would be too long, and so I decided to split it. So this is, if you remember just one thing from this talk, then like it's over communicate. Like there can never be enough communication in the professional world. Talk about everything you are doing on Slack, on email, or whatever. So if you ever think about whether to say something or not when it comes to like company and developers inside the company, it's better to say it. So we are talking about communicating with other developers now. You are doing this through comments, through source code management, commits, messages, and pull requests, through README and documentation, through code reviews, and when you're asking for help, the other developer for help. So, when you are writing comments, your teammates will read them and benefit from them. Future generations will benefit from them, like the developers that come after you to maintain the software, modify it, and of course you are writing them for yourself. So they better be good. So good examples for these for the comments are on the right side. We talked about it on the first talk, so no need to repeat everything. It's pretty obvious. They need to be business logic oriented. They need to be clear and not describe how something is done, but what it means and everything else that we talked about on the first talk. Next, source code management, commits and pull requests. This is very important to like keep the process running. You need to provide the whole context of in the message. So if you just write fixed a bug in a commit, when someone else is looking at it, it won't tell him or her like which bug was that or whatever. So you need to provide whole context of the commit message, so that by reading it, the person knows what's happening and what has been changed. If you are creating PR and we are using some kind of project management software that doesn't link the tasks or tickets with the commits automatically, then you should link the task in the pull request, so that the reviewer or can easily switch between the two. So when the reviewer reviews the PR, he can click on the link and see what's the task about. You should group commits logically. So if you were doing one task and then you change one file, you committed, and then you figure out something else needs changing, and you change that and you committed it again. So maybe it's a good idea to squash those two commits into one commit and write one message. Also, if you are changing two or more things in one pull request, then it's a good idea to separate those into separate commits, so that in case of rolling back or reviewing commit by commit, it's easier to see which changes are tied to which task. I don't know. So also in you can use Git squashing or Git amending. You can Google that how that is done. People rarely use it, but it's very powerful. Like it enables you to merge two commits. It enables you to modify the existing commit, the last commit that you sent, modify the message and everything else. So in case you like wrote something or you have a typo or something, you can change the commit messages. So no need to no need for some big procedure. It's really easy to use. So the good practice is also to provide smoke test information for the PR, so that the reviewer can test the functionality quickly. And even on projects that we have like external testers, it's also very helpful for them to be able to quickly test what you did. This is really easy because I hope before committing you tested if it's working. So just describe slowly what you did. There's an example on the good side. So okay, small text login is as an administrator, go to users list, click delete, stuff like that. So not many details. No, you don't need any like separate test cases that cover everything. That's a job of a tester or people who in a role of acceptance testing or whatever. So but the smoke test, like just a quick way of checking if the changes are working, is a good thing to put in your PR. So avoid like these short commit messages, and commit messages are important. Don't omit them, like putting 3 dots or something like that. That's bad thing. README or documentation. Many of the projects do not have like documentation very well done, so it boils down to a README file in a Git repository. At least for the README for the other developers to set up the development environment should be very well done, because this saves time for all the other developers and even for you if you quit, if you make a pause on the project and then come back, or you get a new laptop or something like that. And we should all pay attention to it and make sure that it's up to date, and test it like periodically. So you should be explicit. Do not assume that like the environment of developer, the other developers are similar to yours. You have to be explicit with the requirements of the software. What is the platform, which versions you are using. Although sometimes like things can work on different versions, it's there can be some problems. So it's best to specify which versions are used in the README, besides the other places where can they be specified, like I don't know, in the Ruby versions or something like that. So bad cases like install MySQL, configure database, run the app. That's like too vague. Which version of MySQL? How do I configure database? Like the developer that comes after you and reads this, he needs to like do exploring, or he needs to bother you and everything else. So that's not good thing. It should be in a README. Good example, although a short one, I didn't have any space left. So it's to specify the versions, to say where's the configuration database, to say how to run these, even though they are like simple, like every Node developer knows how to run a Node app. It is better to prepare the command for him to like copy paste or something like that. So it's much easier than for him to set up, because that saves time to everyone, for everyone. When we are talking about code reviews, don't criticize a person. That's a bad thing, and we all know, like, we are in a very hard field to do, and things are changing. Also, everybody is like bad at programming, definitely. So there are things that you don't know. So there are things that the person doesn't know, and you should never criticize a person, but like try to tell him or her, um, help him or her to improve by doing this review. So you should always ask for explanation about the logic of the code. Don't assume anything, and then provide suggestions on how the code should be better. Uh, you should not be very nitpicky in blocking the pull request from passing. So if there are serious issues, then you should block it. But if there are some issues that are not that serious but improve readability, you can suggest like doing a follow-up PR. So like it's easy. You just say, in order to accept this PR, we need to do this, and this, and these improvements can be in a follow-up PR, so that like the process doesn't stop there because of the minor improvements that can be done. So you can see the examples of bad and good review, and that's it basically. So asking for help. When you are asking for help, the other developer, you should not be shy of asking for help. People get blocked. People uh, don't know something. Maybe something is complicated. Maybe they do not have information. Like they say, a man and a donkey are much smarter than just a man. So if you have if you ask someone to help you, you will benefit probably, unless they are an idiot. So don't ask idiots for help. So um, basically, do not shy away from asking people for help, especially if you don't have access to some critical piece of infrastructure or something that you need for um, for your task to be completed. That is, I mean, you should do it immediately. If you find out that you don't have access to a piece of infrastructure, to a software, to a something that you feel that you need to, that is critical for you to solve a task, then ask away. Do not be shy. The good thing for like asynchronous communication, like email or Slack, you can type your question and then go and back and try to solve it yourself. So when you are asking for help, keep in mind that the other developer or whoever is there has its own things on his mind. He is not that deep into your part of the code that you are working there. So be sure to provide a context surrounding the statement. If you are copying code, don't just copy one or two lines that are problematic. Copy the function, say what you are trying to do, and you can like write that up front, so that the developer can read, and it will avoid some questions going back and forth about the. So you need to help people help you. Also, what's a good thing is like to avoid confusion. You should like uh, tell the other developer things that you have tried and why they didn't work, so that we avoid like suggesting things that are obvious maybe to you and both to you and to developer, and not and they do not work because, I don't know, problem is too complex for that. And also, of course, be Saburly. So you need to be patient with the answers. Uh, Probably the other developers are busy working on whatever they are working at. So when you ask a question, you should try and solve it by yourself until the answer arrives. So don't push it, don't be nervous because someone is not responding right away and stuff like that. Here are some also examples. Yeah, Stack Overflow is your friend, like Google it there or even ask on Stack Overflow, no problem. But just when asking on Stack Overflow, do not like expose the private information of the clients. That's a bad thing. It's best to create a small project that just isolates what you need and then ask. But that's sometimes that's a bit it's a bit of a work, so it's best to ask uh, people inside the organization so which you know that they will not leak the information. Okay, we'll continue with other forms of communication in some other talks. Are there any questions? Yeah, okay. As always, you know everything, so it was clear. So, okay, see you around then.